All right, so if you've got PCOS, I'm willing to bet you've heard this a million times. Just eat less and move more, right? Well, if it were that simple, why does it feel like you're fighting an uphill battle in the mud? Today, we're going to tear up that old, outdated rulebook to figure out why the standard advice just doesn't work, and more importantly, what actually does.
And look, this quote right here from Angela Grassi just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? It's that feeling, that frustration that so many of you know so well. And let me be clear, it is not just in your head. You are putting in all the work. So the real question is, why isn't it working for you?
Yeah, this whole up and down experience is so common, they've got a name for it. The dieting roller coaster. And man, is it draining. It's this endless loop of trying so hard and then feeling completely crushed. So let's really dig into what that actually feels like.
Okay, be honest. Does any of this sound familiar? You're counting every single calorie, every carb. You're cutting out whole food groups. You're hitting the gym, working your butt off. And for what? To see the scale not even budge? Or worse, to lose a little bit only to have it come roaring right back. It leaves you feeling like a total failure, wondering what on earth you're doing wrong. But here's the big idea. What if you're not the problem at all?
So let's just shift our whole way of thinking about this for a second. This isn't about willpower. It's not about you not trying hard enough. The problem is that the advice we've all been given, it's just plain wrong for the unique reality of a body with PCOS.
And this is where it all falls apart, right? You're told eat less, move more, but your body is running on a totally different operating system. You might have a slower metabolism that's trying to hang on to every bit of energy. That whole calories in, calories out thing, it's way too simple. For you, hormones like insulin are the real conductors of the orchestra, and they're playing a completely different tune. And oh boy, the classic eat 5 to 6 small meals a day advice, for a lot of women with PCOS, that's like pouring gasoline on a fire. It can keep your insulin spiked all day long.
So listen, if you hear nothing else today, hear this. Let this one really sink in. It was never about you. It wasn't your fault. It wasn't a lack of effort. The game plan you were handed was designed for a different game entirely. It wasn't built for your body's unique hormonal setup. The diet failed. You didn't.
Okay, so to figure out what actually does work, we have to get into the why behind it all. And it really all boils down to hormones. So let's meet the two main characters in this story, the key players that are basically rewriting the rulebook for us.
First up, we've got insulin. You can think of insulin as the body's main fat storage manager. It's the boss. Now, in a lot of women with PCOS, these insulin levels are just running high, higher than they should be, and that does two things. One, it's constantly telling your body, hey, store this energy as fat. And two, it acts like a massive appetite stimulant, making you crave the exact foods that will spike your insulin even more. It's a really vicious cycle.
And this is why that whole 6 small meals a day idea can be such a disaster. Think of insulin like a water faucet, okay? Every single time you eat, doesn't matter if it's a big meal or a tiny snack, you turn that faucet on. So if you're eating frequently, that faucet is just dripping or even running all day long. The store fat signal is never really turned off.
All right, our second key player is leptin. Leptin is the I'm full hormone. It's supposed to send a signal to your brain that says, hey, we're good down here, you can stop eating now. But here's the catch. With PCOS, your body can become resistant to those signals. It's like your brain has earplugs in. The message that you're full just isn't getting through. So you still feel hungry, even when you've had plenty to eat.
So, okay, the old way is clearly broken. What's the new game plan? It's a complete shift in thinking. We're moving away from obsessively counting calories and instead focusing on managing our hormones. It's about how your body responds to food. And this table just lays it out so perfectly. See, on the one hand, you have the old school low-calorie diet. The focus is just restriction, restriction, restriction. But this can often lead to constant insulin spikes and, ironically, make you feel even hungrier. But on the other hand, look at a low-carbohydrate approach. The main goal here isn't calories, it's managing insulin. And when you do that, you get these nice stable levels which helps you feel full and in control.
So what does this actually look like on your plate? What are we talking about here? Well, it means picking strategies that finally work with your body, not against it. We're talking about things like low-carb and ketogenic diets to really bring that insulin down. We're talking about things like intermittent fasting, which gives your system a much-needed break from those constant store fat signals. And we're talking about protein-rich diets to help you feel fuller for longer.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. This all sounds great, but is it just a theory? Absolutely not. There is solid scientific evidence backing this up.
So let's zoom in on the research, specifically on what ketogenic diets can do for women with PCOS.
Okay, I know this chart looks a little intense, but stick with me. This is from what's called a meta-analysis, which is basically a superstar study. It was published in 2024, and it took the results from 11 different clinical trials and mushed them all together to get one big, powerful answer. So what was the big takeaway?
This, a massive reduction in weight. On average, the women in these studies lost over 9 kilograms. That's about 20 pounds. Now, if you're someone who has fought tooth and nail for every single pound, you know that number is an absolute game changer. And remember, that's just the average. Some women lost even more.
And it wasn't just about the number on the scale, not by a long shot. The same research found major improvements pretty much everywhere else, too. We're talking a big drop in BMI, a significant reduction in waist size, over 7 centimeters, and a loss of more than 6.5 kilos of pure fat mass. That's not just weight loss. That's a real, fundamental metabolic shift happening.
Wow! Okay, we have covered a ton of ground, haven't we? We've busted some old myths, we've looked at the science, so let's boil it all down into a few key takeaways. The new rules for thinking about diet and PCOS.
Think of this as your new 3-step playbook. Step 1. Reframe the entire problem. This is not a willpower issue, it's a hormone issue. That's a huge mental shift. Step 2. Shift your focus. Stop obsessing over how much you eat and start prioritizing what you eat. The quality of your food and its effect on your hormones is king. And finally, Step 3. Make your new #1 goal managing insulin, not just counting calories. When you get that one piece right, you'll be amazed at how everything else starts to fall into place.
Because at the end of the day, this is all about finding something that's actually sustainable, a path to feeling good that you can stick with. And this quote is so important. That constant up and down, the weight cycling, it's actually bad for us. The real win isn't just a number on the scale. It's about improving your lifestyle for the long haul. It's about focusing on your hormonal health, feeling better, having more energy. That is where it's at.
So I want to leave you with this final thought. What if you could just let go of that old, frustrating, broken rule of just eat less? And what if instead you embrace this new idea of eating differently? Eating in a way that actually works with your body's hormones instead of against them. Just imagine, what could that really truly unlock for your health and for your life?